welcome back. So we are continuing our conversation with a handbook for teachers of African American children. And this week is all about making a connection, right? So in this chapter, Principal Kafele gives us tons of ideas as educators that we can use to make a connection to African American children. Tip number one that I pulled from the chapter: how do you look? What is your body language? And I also learned this week that 90% of how we communicate is in our body language. So if your students are entering the classroom or during your lesson, you look like slumped over, or you're leaning, or you're rolling your eyes, or you slapping on the desk, right? That's not really communicating to the children that you want to be there and that you're enjoying the learning experience with them. So we need to make sure that we check our body language. Check how our body is communicating with them while they enter the classroom and even while we are teaching in the classroom, right? Tip number two, take time to listen to their music. And I'm not saying learn the lyrics verbatim, and I'm not saying you even have to enjoy it, but it puts you into their world just a little bit. I know it did for me. When I could do the whip and the nae-nae, when I could do the shoot, when I could do the floss, right? They loved it. And I did it just because I knew it was what they enjoyed doing. So that was a way for me to make a connection to them, all right? The third thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we know their interests. I attended football games, basketball games, recitals, church services, birthday parties, right? To plug myself into their world, to understand and to know what they were interested in outside of our classroom. And it was very powerful and very beneficial for me, and it helped me to make that connection to them. The fourth thing that you want to make sure you do is to make it fun. Please make it fun, make it engaging. Look for opportunities to incorporate their interests in their music into your lessons, right? We see it all the time on videos that go viral of teachers that took instrumentals or popular songs and they put content with it, and the students were engaged and they were excited about it. All right, so take yourself out of it and make sure that it's something that they want to learn and they want to listen to over and over again and to learn from over and over again. All right, and then the last thing, you teach humans first. And I think somehow I always put the tip that touched me the most last, because a lot of times we don't think about it when we're in the classroom, because we have to do the math and the writing and the lesson planning and the evaluations and the progress monitoring and the standardized testing. Like that's what's at the forefront of our minds a lot of times, and we forget that these are human beings sitting in front of us that have needs that we can't always teach about, right? They may be hungry, they may be tired, they may be frustrated, they may be anxious. And there is nothing that you can teach or that you can say in that moment that's going to connect with them if you don't first meet that need. And we have to think about it for ourselves as well. If you're sitting in a staff meeting and you're tired, and you're hungry, and you're anxious, and you're nervous, right? You're thinking about how you're going to solve all those problems instead of thinking about what's on that agenda. And until that need is met, you can't think about, and you can't digest, and you can't internalize what they're saying in that meeting, because you're thinking about all those needs that you have that need to be met. And that's the same thing for the students in the classroom. They can't think about it. They can't digest it because there are needs that they need met before they can actually listen to your math lesson or listen to your read aloud, right? So keep that in the forefront of your mind. You teach humans first, right? So our tips for this week about making a connection: reflecting on our body language, listening to their music, knowing what their interests are, making lessons fun and engaging, and remembering that we teach humans first, all right? So I have just a few more chapters left in this book, and I hope that you have been able to connect and stay engaged and learn something from these tips that I have been sharing with you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next week.